Hello everyone. Welcome to the day 13 of Core Java. So now we are going to move forward with our topic arrays, and we are going to study the next concept in arrays, that is passing arrays to methods. So we commonly pass arrays as parameters to the methods. As you can see in the example, here we have provided a function called addition, and this addition function is getting the array as a parameter and its return type is int. Here I'm calculating the sum of the elements of the array. As you can see here, we have created a for loop in which we are calculating the sum of all the elements of array, and then we are returning the sum. So now let's do it. So here we have created a function add. It is containing a variable sum, and then we have created a for loop which is calculating the sum of all the elements present in array. Then we are going to just return our sum as our function is expecting. So now let's create a random array. So I am creating a marks array, and I am just going to write the elements 10, 20, 40, 50, 60. So here I have created an array. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just pass this my array to my function. So let's store the result of my function add in a variable called. So I'm going to do this. So see what error it is giving me, non-static method error. So what I have to do, I have to just create an object of my practice data class. So I'm going to just create an object. Let's create an object result of my practice data class. So now we have created, and we are going to just reference. So let's store it in a variable R. And now I'm going to just print the value of R. So now let's run our program. So you can see here that we got the addition of all the elements present in our array, which is 180. So now let's move forward. So the next very important concept in arrays is multi-dimensional arrays. So what are multi-dimensional arrays? It contains multi-dimension. It is not a singular array. So here the data is stored in a row and column format, that is a matrix format. So the syntax of creating a multi-dimensional array is, so we can write data type, then we specify two square brackets, one for row and one for the number of columns, and then we specify our data type. So these are the three most common ways of creating a multi-dimensional array in Java. So now let's create a multi-dimensional array here. So how can we create a multi-dimensional array? So now let's first see simple method of creating a multi-dimensional array. So I'm creating an array A, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just specify the elements here. Okay, so let's specify the elements. So I have created. Now I have created my array. So you can see here how I have created this array. I specified two brackets and then I initialized it. So this is the elements of my first row. Then these are the elements of my second row, and these are the elements of my third row. So this is the most common way of creating a multi-dimensional array. We can also create a multi-dimensional array by just specifying using the new keyword and specifying a row and column and then initializing it or filling the values in our array. So now let's just print it. So how we are going to print it? We are just going to use two for loops to do that. So I'm going to just run my loop till my a dot length, and inside it I'm going to run it again, which here it will run till my a of I dot length. So why I have run it till a of I dot length, it specifies the length of my first row. My inner for loop will run till the elements of my row, the row which is specified in my I right now. So now we are going to just print the values of my array, and we are going to just print it like this. And let's add on a space here. Okay, now we are going to run. So you can see here it has iterated through whole of my array and printed. So what it is doing here, because I have used println, so it is printing my array like this. So let's print it in form of a multi-dimensional array. So for that, what we can do, we could just write here print, and these codes will give us space. And here we are using println, which will give me a new line. So now let's rerun our program. And here we can see that we got our array in multidimensional format. So this is how we create multidimensional arrays in Java. So this we have, so we saw a most common way that we saw here in our code. How do we create a multidimensional array? So we can also instantiate a multidimensional array by just writing our data type, our array name, and then using the new keyword and then specify the number of rows and columns. And then we can initialize it by specifying our row. Like here, we have initialized our array element present at 0th row and 0th column, and we have given it's a value. We have given it a value 1. So now here we can see both int array. So like this, we can declare and initialize a multi-dimensional array in one go. So next we have jagged arrays in Java. So what is a jagged array? Jagged array is an array of arrays having different number of columns. So how do we create it? We create it by just specifying the number of rows and leaving the number of columns square bracket blank. Then we individually specify the number of elements present in each of the row. Like we have done here, we have specified the number of elements present in our first row, that is our 0th row. Then we have specified the number of elements present in our first and second row respectively. So now we have seen the practical example of how do we create multidimensional arrays. Now we will be seeing the practical example of creating the jagged arrays. So how do we create jagged arrays? So we can write a name. Okay, so I am creating this. Now I'm going to just initialize it. It will be having 3 rows and 0 columns. Now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to specify individual row elements. So let's assume my 0th row contains 4 elements. Then my first row contains 3 elements and my second row contains 5 elements. So like this, we have initialized and declared our jagged array. So we can also assign the value to our jagged array like this. 0th row and 0th index, we are assigning the value 1. And in a 0th index and first element, we are specifying the value 2. So like this, we can specify the values to our jagged array. So we can, how do we print the jagged array? We print the jagged array in same way as we print the multi-dimensional array. So for just running it, let's create small arrays so that we could run it easily. So now let's just specify the values. I'm giving it 4. Then we are going to specify the value for my first row, 0th element. As it contains only one element, so I'm going to just provide the value for it only. Now I am going to provide the value for this, and then we are going to provide the value for first element. And now we have successfully specified the values of our all elements. Now we are going to just print the value for our array. So now we are going to run J loop. J loop will run for specific length of my row, and we are going to just print the value of my array. Plus we are going to print the space as my habit. Okay, now we are going to just run our application. So you can see here we have successfully created a jagged array. So my first row of jagged array contains 3 elements. My second row of jagged array contains 1 element. And the third row of my jagged array contains 2 elements as specified. So this is how we create jagged arrays in Java. Thank you everyone for watching.